welcome back to another episode of the Talking Wolves podcast. I am your host, Matt Cooper, and today I am joined by three wonderful guests. We'll start with the main man himself, Dave Azzopardi. Dave, how you doing, mate?
I'm very well, thank you. I was waiting for you to go to Finn or something like that. So, but yeah, I'm all good.
I feel like that joke's been exhausted somewhat now. How you feeling after last weekend? You were on a stag do, weren't you, in Liverpool? Have you recovered?
Oh mate, only just. It was at work today, and I thought I still felt drunk. It was bad, man. I was at a bar obviously for the FA Cup final. So a pub for the FA Cup final, and my mate took a video of all the Liverpool fans celebrating. I'm just sat there absolutely livid. I'm the only one that didn't want them to win. So yeah, it was good though. Had a very heavy Friday night and didn't do anything else for the rest of the weekend. Just recovering.
No. You're not the biggest of drinkers, though, are you? Really? You like a good time, but you're not a massive drinker.
Yeah, but I don't know how much I drank because it was not a good ending to the evening.
Good 4 or 5 points. Finn, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right, thank you. Much less eventful weekend. Just the football.
Are you wearing a cap?
Or I am, because you told me to turn my lights on. No, it's a cap. You told me to turn my lights on, and then I went, oh, God, right.
He's got a do-rag on.
I was going to say, JME. You're okay, though?
Yeah, I'm all right, thanks.
Brilliant. And, of course, back by popular demand, we've got Jord. Jord, how's it going, mate?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, thanks, considering that Wolves are shite. So it's been quite a while since we've done the last podcast, or perhaps the games have come thick and fast, well, maybe a bit of both. So today we're going to be talking through the Chelsea game, the 2-2 draw at Stamford Bridge, the 5-1 feasting at the hands of Manchester City, the Norwich game, we'll be previewing the Liverpool game, and then we'll be taking your questions. Dave, let's start with the Chelsea game. It feels like ages ago, this. I was only saying before we went on air, before we started recording. I don't really remember much of this game at all, but I think the result kind of masks the overall performance, doesn't it not?
I don't know. I thought we were okay especially after the Brighton game. The first half was, I'm not going to say pleasantly surprising, but it was okay. That we showed a lot more fight and desire in that first half. Although I thought we got a little bit lucky. Werner had that goal disallowed for that sort of foul on Saïs, which I think was quite fortunate. And obviously Loftus-Cheek got that goal that was given offside right on half-time, which I'm not too sure why it took them so long to disallow that, to be honest. I thought it was pretty clear that he was offside. So we rode our luck a little bit, but the overall performance was a lot better. I think Neto, looked a little bit threatening as well towards the end of the first half. But for the first chunk of that second half, it was disastrous. We, gave them 2 goals, really. Once again, Romain Saïs giving away another penalty. Not a clue what he's trying to do there. And then we gave Lukaku scored, and then we gifted him the second goal as well. So needed to rely on Chiquinho getting to come on the pitch to change things. But yeah, I don't know. I'd say 45 minutes okay, 25 minutes disastrous, and the other, you do the maths, the other 20 minutes, yeah, we're all right.
Quick maths, mate. Well done.
Yeah,
Finn, I mean, now we're talking about it a bit more, I'm starting to kind of recollect the game. I wasn't on English source watching it. It was like 7 o'clock in the morning where I was. We had chances, didn't we, in the first half? Ait-Nouri went through on goal, and I think I tweeted, this is going to cost us, and it nearly did in the end.
Yeah, I remember a Dendonka one from where we were, that was it, lower in the opposite end of the pitch. So I looked like a sitter. Like, watching it again after, it was a little bit tougher than I thought, but I literally thought it was just an open goal.
Come on.
Well, I thought the entire goal was there for him to aim at, and it kind of wasn't, but still, it's a sitter. But yeah, there were a few in that first half. I also thought we were quite fortunate, as Dave said, with that Werner one. Really wasn't much in that, but I think the ref was so poor in blowing before he'd even hit the back of the net that he couldn't then give it. So it was a tricky one. So we were lucky there. So it was a fair first half, and Dave said pleasantly surprising, but the most pleasantly surprising thing was that last 20 minutes compared to the Brighton game. The difference in actually looking like we wanted to score a goal was there for once. Again, it seems to have faded away. But for that special weekend, first time in 2 months, we looked threatening going behind, and it was a nice end to it. So it was because of this spacing. Yeah, sorry, with the podcast, wasn't it? There was a game 3 days later, so we never covered it. So at the time, we might have been a bit more positive, but it was a good day.
We'll come on to your cameo appearance on the Wolves socials in a bit, Finn. But Jordan, Finn said there, I think Saïs got saved a little bit, didn't he, by the referees? We saw with the Werner goal that got disallowed. I think if he doesn't blow before it hits the back of the net, then they could be looking at that and giving it.
Yeah, it was soft. It was soft. It's one of those where, they do get given every now and again, but I just think Werner was quicker off the mark than what Sace, to be honest with you. I think he was scrambling and, I don't really think it's necessarily a foul. If it was the other way, you'd be absolutely screaming. So I think you've got to be fair. Yeah, it was... we got away with one, I think. It's fair to say that. But like you say, like the other lads have said, I actually thought it was a pleasantly good performance. We had that dodgy sort of 15, 20-minute spell that Dave alluded to. But on the whole, it was so much better than temp was there. But for an away performance, the first half was good. And then, like you say, it was really pleasing to see us not give in and score the 2 goals. And I think, I think a point was fair. We could have got all 3, but I do think a point was a fair result out of that game.
Thing is, though, as well, looking at the 2 goals that we did concede, the first is a penalty. Dave says that not a clue what he's doing, and the second one, Cody, like it's our own mistakes. So the only way that they have scored is through errors of our own, Dave, which probably makes it even more frustrating.
I think that's been the issue for the last few weeks, is that because we've been so strong defensively up until sort of Feb, we're now almost gifting teams goals. We've seen that, the Norwich game, which we'll come on to, disastrous defending. The City game, although we know how good City were, I think we gifted and made life a little bit too easy for them. And the Chelsea game, we gave them 2 goals. I think that's the difference now. We're starting to make a little bit too many mistakes. Connor Cody, who had been fantastic this season, a huge improvement of last year, started to drop a couple of mistakes. Bolly, as much as we love him, probably hasn't quite been the same place since he's come back in the team, and Sace just dropping too many errors as well. So that's been the big issue. Penalty, I don't know what Sace is doing. Like I said, he's just sticking his foot in the air. So you just, you're asking for it there. And like you say, the Lukaku second goal as well, just gifted him. Still a good finish, to be fair, but just gifted him possession, which we've been doing too much of in recent weeks.
When I first saw it in real time, I thought Neves is on his heels there. He's got to be doing better. He should be expecting a pass. And I saw the angle from behind, and Cody's as he tried to find a player out wide, thinking he's absolutely just fizzed it at Neves. And then it's a catalogue of errors again. I don't think Sarr can really do anything with it, but it's what makes it so frustrating, though. But we did have a go after that, and it makes you think, why is it taking us 70 odd minutes to have a go here? Trincao with the goal. What an assist from Chiquinho. One of 2. Literally just rolled it to him. He ran half the length of the pitch, cut inside, and I think it was a wonderful finish, and we almost had me thinking, where's this Trincao been all season?
Yeah, and from where I was sat, I was watching Trincao and Fabio warm up that second half. They're both not great body language wise when they're warming up. So when he came on, I was like, because how they were acting when like other players were being called in and sort of pulling a bit of a strop, I thought, all right, do something now, mate. And he did. He really did. It was a great finish. He's got that in his locker, and if he's 20 yards out on his left foot, he's probably going to find the top corner 9 out of 10 times. Everyone's raved about him coming through in Portugal. The technical aspect of him is there, isn't it? It's just everything else hasn't quite worked for him. And I saw your tweet, Matt. I agreed at the time where you were, was it like changing whether we should sign him out on an hourly basis?
It's not even an hourly basis. It's every other minute.
Well, for those 20 minutes, I was saying, sign him up. So that was the start of it's more of a Bruno Fernandes assist, we'll call that one, the Chiquinho one. The amount Bruno used to get on fantasy Premier League where he'd just pass it, someone would run the whole pitch and score, Bruno assist. But the second assist, I'm sure we'll come on to, much more impressive, and he changed the game.
I think after the game, because what's that? Is it 3 assists now? After that game,
he's our top assister. He was in the Norwich programme, 3 assists. Chiquinho's top. And
I think due to minutes, I think he's like expected assists overall in the season, like 27 or something daft, purely because of how many assists he's got in the period of time that he played. But let's get on to that, Jord. He's a bit of a breath of fresh air, isn't he? He seems to be a little bit of a shining light on what's been a real damp squib of an end to the season.
Yeah, he's really raw. I think I said on the last podcast where there was clamours for him to sign. I think he's really green still, and I don't quite trust him pre this Chelsea game to make a start. And he reminds me, and again, please don't sniff. It will be a little bit at the moment. He's going for that patch of where Jordan Graham went through for us in the Championship, where he was just getting assist after. But what I mean by that, and let me explain myself, or I'll get quote tweeted like someone else has today, He's just very direct. He just puts the ball in the box, and like that's his first thought is put my foot on it. I'm going to whip the ball in the box, and it's refreshing because how many times we've got wingers, inverted commas wingers, and we've been playing with wingers in 3-4-3, but yeah, he's just got a lovely cross on him, hasn't he? I think he's got a lovely delivery, and it's refreshing to see because any ball he puts in the box seems to be on the money, and it's very dangerous. And yeah, what an unbelievable ball! And Cody couldn't really miss, could he? Put it right on his head, and like I say, we got the point we deserved out of the game for me.
I know Cody said after the game they thought they could have won the game. I'm not sure. I suppose with the chances that we had in the first half, yes, but also I think Chelsea had quite a few chances. I think the point's a fair result. Dave, after this, did you think, right, we can finish the season strongly here? Just in the manner of clinching a draw from the jaws of defeat.
Well, yes and no. I knew it was going to be an extremely difficult game against City. If we had like the Norwich and City games the other way around, then probably yes. But the way that we sort of, again, I sort of made comments at the head of the City game thinking, you know what, it's going to be a much closer game than they had against Newcastle. I thought, they're not going to score 5 goals against us. And I was completely wrong. So yes and no. I think there were still elements of our game against Chelsea that were disappointing, and I would have taken the point. There were people on our fans react, like you said, were disappointed that we didn't get 3 points, believe it or not. But when you're 2-0 down, you're going to take it, especially against Chelsea, you're going to take a 2-2 all day. But I didn't really know what to expect. I think when we dropped points there, I didn't really think Europe was on anymore.
No. Yes, I felt the same, especially with City coming next. Like you said, if it was Norwich coming next, you might fancy him to go and put on a show. But yeah, 2-2, a decent point in the end. Just on to Betmate, it was £3 in with a chance to win the share of £100. Big congratulations to Ward Wolf 73 who took home £40, and shout outs to Cam Guest, Ricky Spanish, Liam Likes, and Harry MA86 who also took home.
That's Harry Mansell.
Oh, is that Harry Mansell, is it?
Yeah.
You know,
I think he's got 2 accounts, you know.
Yeah, he's got Harry MA86 and Harry Mansell because he comes 6th. So
I'm sure it's him. If it's not, it's a mad coincidence, but I'm sure he's in.
But it may be.
That is an addiction, Harry.
You know that someone's going to put their Betmate username as something like My Cock's Long.
Yeah.
You know they're going to do it, and I'm going to be reading it out one week. I know someone's going to do it. It's going to absolutely.
Not a bad one to read out as they go.
Mike Litterus has won it. Well done, mate.
Don Kiddick has. I just know it's going to happen. So there's your incentive to sign up. Try and catch me out of a name. But so 2-2 draw with Chelsea. Then we have Manchester City come to town, and probably the best individual performance from a footballer I've ever seen, Finn. But we basically said we bent over and said had a goal on this.
Yeah, I mean, I saw Bonatini against Villa. Yeah, I did. It was unbelievable. That it was one of those ones where at half time, it's been a constant thing at the moment of booing. It was just shock. It was like, I think De Bruyne is sorry to go into stats because you can see he's a brilliant player, but the XG was like combined in the game was like 0.8 and he's got 3 from it. And that's more importantly, muddied Sar's stats that were so unbelievable. De Bruyne has single-handedly ruined him, but I think he's still top of all the charts. But yeah, 3 weak foot goals, some from like ridiculous places. You just can't. You just have to stand and clap, really. I wasn't doing that in the stadium. I'm not one of them. Like, great goal. Still whacking seats in front of me. But yeah, it was at 1-1, maybe a little bit of hope. It was a superb counter-attacking goal that we haven't seen too much this season. But when that third one went in, it was the outside the box one, wasn't it? It was just sort of right damage limitation. There were joys that we were having. I think we could have been helped. For example, if like Zinchenko was booked earlier on, I think we were having some real joy there, and that then we may have had an avenue. But yeah, it was one where you just say, okay, we'll take this on the chin, do well to not make it 6, 7, 8. We did kind of do better than Newcastle because we scored one. So small victories.
He's an unbelievable player, isn't he? He's absolutely phenomenal. It's one of those when you're watching that as a neutral, you think, I want to watch this all day. But when it's your own team, Jord, you almost think, I can't wait for this game to be over.
No, he's class, isn't he? And I think there's a lot of talk now. I think Carragher might have said about him going down as like the greatest ever Man City player in the Premier League era. And he's different gravy. Like for me, right foot, left foot, goals, assists. He's just got it all. I think, I think the third goal was just. What can you say about that third goal? It was just incredible, wasn't it? Like weaker foot, no chance for Sarr. And I think the one thing for me is the only disappointment for me is that we got nowhere near him though all game. And you're looking at people such as I think Neves is a very, very, very good midfielder, and in that bracket could play for anyone in the world. But even he didn't get anywhere near him, did he? It was that's no disgrace really. They're a top team, and it was a bit of a mismatch. But the only disappointment for me is that we always give them a game, especially at Molineux, and I just think it's probably the way that the end of the season's gone for us. We just got out with a whimper, and it was really underwhelming from a point of view for me.
The thing is, though, like the third one for me, and we'll come on to the goals individually. The third one for me, he takes it past about 2 or 3 players. Someone's just got to take one for the team. Just bring him down. You know how dangerous he is. Just take a yellow card on the edge of the area, and if they score from the free kick, so be it. But it was easy. I think the second goal, Sarr's caught in 2 minds. He hesitates. It's on a plate. The first goal's a nice bit of play, but again, it's all for me. I don't know. We just look a far cry from the team that would usually give Man City a go, Dave. Do you not think?
Yeah, and I think the one thing is, and with what you mentioned there, obviously De Bruyne, great performance, but we made, I think, at least 1 or 2 of those a little bit too easy for him. I always cast my mind back to when we played Tottenham. You think of the Spurs documentary, how Mourinho was just like, how he was praising us for breaking up the play. Not necessarily saying we were a dirty team, but we were clever with our fouls. And the amount of times that we stopped them on the breakaway and fouled them, and there were clips of Neves and Dendoncker stopping any Spurs breakaways and not always getting the bookings. We haven't really done that enough. We've probably done it throughout the season, but definitely not enough in that game. And when you have got top players like De Bruyne, you saw the first time we went on a decent attack, bar our goal, De Bruyne went straight through. I think it was Chiquinho straight away. So they're not scared to do it, and that's what we've got to start doing a little bit more. Yes, I know it's probably going to draw a few too many bookings, but you're right. You've got a set piece on the edge of the box. That's going to reduce their chance of scoring quite considerably. But you can't take anything away from the talent of Manchester City. But I do feel like we made it a bit too easy for them, and they could have easily scored a couple more goals in the second half as well, I think.
Yeah, Foden hit the post, De Bruyne hit the post, and it was too easy. And like you said, Dave, even De Bruyne was putting a boot in and making it, breaking up the play. Was it? I think Barcelona under Guardiola, was it something like if you lose the ball and don't get it back within 6 or 7 seconds and make a foul, something like that. And that's what the teams do well. They break up play. They stop you getting any kind of momentum. One thing I thought we did do well in the first half, similar to the Chelsea game, we played well on the counter attack. We didn't have a choice, but we've not done that all season. How many times have we seen us get the ball and be in a position to break, and we're almost waiting to get in a shape before we then go forward? I just don't get it. I just do not get it. And this happened in the Norwich game quite a few times, but I thought we played all right on the counter, but it wasn't to be.
No, yeah, and it felt like a rare moment as well of the old Jimenez, where he did really well to play in Neto initially. And then we also every part of it, we haven't had enough. So you haven't had enough of that hold-up play. Then Neto, as a winger, got his head up, looked where the run was, instead of just whacking it across and then no one being there. Because a lot of the balls we play every game, ironically, if it was City, you've got Sterling running in at the back post, or you've got Jesus, and they scramble it in. We always seem to play those balls across. I can't think of a goal where we've tapped it in from 2 yards at playing it a Man City goal, if you know what I mean. So It was nice for one of those, albeit from a little bit further out, to actually come off, get his head up, and then Donker to hit the target. So a lot of those things were rare, and we haven't seen enough. But yeah, it was at that point, it was like, right, okay. It was at about 11 minutes. It was like, right, we go again. And then, I think going through De Bruyne's, I know we'll go into him, the third and the fourth, I haven't seen a player that can hit a ball like that, because the games either side, Real Madrid, he was pretty anonymous. West Ham, as we said, put a foot through him, was pretty anonymous. But we let him play. And I don't think that it was at his boot, and then it was right nestled in the corner. I can't even describe it. It's ridiculous. And
his technique's phenomenal. But Jord, we let him play. We let him have the freedom of We let him have the freedom of Wolverhampton. Not one of our midfielders got anywhere near him. Like you said, I don't think it's any discredit to Neves or his ability, but I mean, even like our midfielders couldn't match their level of dynamism at all. And De Bruyne is an absolute athlete. He doesn't look like one, but he is.
Yeah, and the frustrating thing for me is, like I say, we normally compete against these big teams, and we just didn't. And sometimes they are going to beat you and they're going to outplay you, but you got to look back at that Liverpool game. It's a comparable game earlier on in the season where we had our tails up and we made it really difficult, and we were really unlucky to that Origi goal, last kick of the game. But we competed with them on every level, and I don't know. I just don't know what's gone on with this squad. I think we'll probably touch on it a little bit later on, but for me, I don't recognise this team at the minute. And whether they're bored, I know the fans are bored. Like, it's just everything's stale and stagnant. It just feels like we need the end of the season for one, and then we really need to work out what we're doing as a club. It feels to me there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of moving pieces in terms of players going. From looking at the reaction after the Norwich game and people waving goodbye and stuff. So, yeah, it just needs to change for me. Good or bad, it needs to change.
Any other positives to take from the game, Dave?
Uh,
I thought Chiquinho did all right again. He was willing. There was one point where I think he took the ball off Laporte, and Laporte is no slouch. And he absolutely tore him a new arsehole running down the right wing towards the North Bank in the first half. Everyone was looking around thinking, bloody hell, like this is like an Adama region.
Yeah.
Can actually put a ball in the box.
I think the beauty with that system was that, as soon as we went 3-1 down, we changed the system and went a lot more attacking. And for the last 15, 20 minutes of that first half, we looked really, really good and we pinned City back quite well. It was clear that we went a 4-3-3, and the number of people that had tweeted me or commented on the review saying we played a 5 at the back the whole game. We definitely went with like a 4-3-3 for a good 20 minutes, half an hour at least in that game. And Chiquinho looked good. There were parts of the game when he was playing as a right wing back where I just sort of kept my focus on him. And there were parts where you could see that he wasn't quite 100% sure what he should be doing. But when he was on the ball, and another comparison here, obviously Jord said Jordan Graham, but it is almost like that Adama type where he can just drive the ball forward, and he does get people and fans off their seats again. And he has got that end product already, and he's such a raw footballer. And I think with a full pre-season, I just don't understand why he hasn't played more, or at least got more minutes, because he's just signed from Estoril. Had a really strong start to the season, so his confidence and morale is high, and then he's just come to Wolves to sit on the bench. As soon as we started having that dip, you've got to try and take advantage of that sort of thing. But definitely a player in there, and definitely a player that should be sticking around for pre-season and the first team going into the new season.
Yeah, I think when you talk about the 4-3-3 and the formation, the way that I interpreted it was out of possession, it was a 5 with Chiquinho slotting in at right wing back, and then in possession or in transition, Chiquinho pushed further forward and Johnny pushing right back. I don't think that was the game to trial it though.
No, at 3-1 down, I think it's pretty obvious that you're not going to score another 2 or 3 goals against City. And I know you shouldn't look at the game like that, but I think it's pretty obvious. So why not try and experiment for something that Bruno obviously wants to go for next season? So I'm fairly certain the last 20 minutes of that first half, it was just a flat 4-3-3 almost. But you are right. I think probably 10, 15 minutes into the second half, it switched back to a back 5 because City were just back in control of the game. But I don't know if it was intentional. Bruno wasn't there. It would have been interesting to see what the result would have been if we had, Bruno on the touchline.
6-1.
Yeah. But in the end, yeah. No, Tony Roberts there. He masterminded a comeback against Chelsea. Who knows what the score would have been?
Yeah, it's. I thought Neto did a little bit better, but I don't think it was a fixture to trial that. Luckily enough for me, because it was a later kickoff, I left, I think, just after the 4th, because I've got a 3-goal rule when you're at home, and I know it might make me sound like a plastic, but if you go 3 goals down, I leave. Because I've seen enough, and in your lifetime you might miss a couple of comebacks from where only lifetime is a Leicester City game. 3 was it? We were beaten 4-3.
3.5 time.
So
I bet is that the only time that's been evoked though this year, Matt? Have we been 3 Brighton, actually.
I wasn't there. I'd already left before I even got there.
Oh.
They're the only 2 times we conceded more than 3 goals.
Yeah, which was great for me because I was home about 2 minutes after kickoff, which was fantastic. So call me a plastic, but I don't know. I don't want to watch it. Like I don't want to watch my team get absolutely panned.
Because the viewers and listeners can just guess what stand you're sitting as well. Even early.
Let's not talk about stands, mate, because the chant that the South Bank started on Sunday gave me a terrible.
Mate, I actually thought it was. I tweeted it at half time.
It's horrendous, mate.
I tweeted on Talking Walls. By the end of half time, I was getting stick. I was like, shit.
It's a proper Yudar chant. It's not. It's not for me. What does a riot on your hands mean? Angry tweets, bed sheets, and felt tips. That's all it means.
You've let us down again.
Joke club.
Yeah.
Anyhow, moving on to the Betmate winnings then for the City game. So it was £5 to enter for this one, a bit of a bigger buy-in, but it's also your chance to win a share of £350. And I can't believe what I'm seeing because I can see 2 Talking Wolves members in the top 6. Big shout out to M. Willsey 80 and TJ Williams 4, who both came joint top and took home a share of £105 each, which is huge. Then in third place, we had Finners. Finn, you took home 42 quid. What have you spent it on? Mackie's all
still in the account. Still in the account, but yeah, virtually, yeah, treat myself to a grill it. But no, yeah, it's my first one I've ever done. I managed to finally deposit a tenner, used a £5 of it, and we're up to 47 whole fat ones now. So,
Betmate, if you're listening, that's Finn saying put some money in his account, please. I think that's what he's saying. Just looking at your team now, though, mate, you had Ederson in goal, Laporte, Cancelo was your vice captain, which scored 10.5 points. De Bruyne captain, 42 points. I think that's where you've managed to.
It's where everyone, yeah.
Foden, Sterling, and then Chiquinho, 14 points. I vice captain Chiquinho, and my theory was,
tackles.
He'd make a lot of tackles. Obviously, the tackles are worth more for attackers. So I knew he'd probably be playing right wing back a lot. And like the first half, I thought I'm quids in here because like he was everywhere. But I finished 14th, just outside on 81 points. But then we also saw a certain Dave Azzopardi finishing joint 6th. Who took I am Jose Mourinho, who took home £5.60. What have you spent it on, Dave?
Still in my account. To be fair, I didn't actually spend that much in Liverpool. I would have said it's paid for my stag do, but not my stag do, but we'll take it. 60p profit, we move.
I mean, you had the exact same team as Finn. However, you've vice captain Foden.
This is what's mad. 1 point behind Finn and like 35 quid difference. It's painful.
Fine margins.
Same with the guys at the top. Yeah, they had a different midfielder to me and took home the big ones, but you take it.
He did. So looking at M. Willsey 80, he had Bernardo Silva instead of Foden, and then TJ Williams 4 also had the same. So it is fine margins. Everyone picking Chiquinho though. I think people are starting to realise like how to score points on Betmate. I feel like I may have been like the early adopter and almost a little bit like Wenger when he first came to England. When he was like. He dominated, and then people started catching up with him. Then you had Pep. I feel like Wenger.
That's why Matt's finished the bottom 10 in the last 2 weeks.
That's what I mean. I feel like people have taken my style and tweaked it and made it a bit better. But I think, if anything, that's a compliment towards me. No.
Yeah. So what am I the Arteta or the Unai Emery?
Probably say joking here, mate.
Yeah.
The joking here a bit, mate. But we'll see. We've still got the Liverpool game to come, which we'll come on to in a bit. Still not decided on the prize pot for the Liverpool game. Depends whether it's going to go down to the last day, because if it does, it could be one of the biggest prize pots we've ever seen. So we're definitely having to go on that. Lads, conscious of the time, we've already done over half hour. Norwich 1, Wolves 1. The final home game of the season. Dave Azzopardi, discuss.
Seems like a bit of a non-event, especially with the lineup. I drove back to Liverpool to coach a Sunday League team. Drove straight to Molly and looked at my phone to see John Ruddy starting in goal.
Let's talk about that, mate. Let's talk about that, because what is more important, winning games or sentiment?
I don't give a I don't give a shit if he's leaving the club.
I could care less.
I want to win a game. We can't buy a win at the minute, and we playing bottom of the league. You couldn't hit a barn door with a banjo. And I'm not, let's look at the game. He didn't do anything wrong, but you got to be starting your strongest team. And nothing against Big John. You got to be starting your strongest team.
John.
And like, so I was fuming because I thought if I've come all the way back for this, I'm going to be fuming. So, but yeah, it was crap, man. It was so bad. The first half, when sometimes you watch a football game and you think, was it as bad as I thought it was? And then I'm going on and like everyone is saying it. Like the journalists are saying that was like the worst first half we played all season. We made Timo Pukki look like R9. His runs, to be fair, he found the space.
He's a very intelligent player, though.
Yeah. But then you watch the replays, and my word, how easy are Bolly and Cody making it for him. And the second goal, I think Cody should be a lot tighter to him. I think John Ruddy, maybe being harsh, should have done a little bit better. But that was disastrous, man. And even the second half, we came out a little bit more, but still not good enough, man. So bad.
Absolutely shite, wasn't it, Finn? It was. Yeah. It had the hallmarks of a testimonial game for me, and it felt like.
Sorry for my negative John Ruddy comments there, but
he's been a fantastic servant to the club. But you play strongest team because we'd quite like to win the game, and like Dave said, even if you put Sarr in goal, we probably still wouldn't have won the game. But it's the mindset, isn't it? The players are going and go, by the way, lads, John's leaving end of the season, so we'd quite like to give him some minutes. If that's all right, we've still got a little bit to play for, but go on, Big John, get yourself in. It's like bollocks. I don't want this sentiment at my club.
Yeah, it wasn't his fault, was it? I haven't even seen the goal back to see whether it was or not, but there was no evident howler. And especially putting it like that when that result could mean now we could even finish 11th, couldn't we? We could definitely finish 10th if Leicester and Brighton win their games, obviously if we lose to Liverpool. And when they're saying about like, I know it's not much, but like the price increases are going to give the club an extra $1 million, and yet we're happy to chuck away 2 Premier League places, which give you however many million per place. Like at least there's millions of pounds there to fight for compared to, as you say, like a testimonial vibe. But it was a little bit like Matinho was getting extra claps every time he took a corner because he might be leaving, the extra Neves chance. It was a weird atmosphere. And I can't remember at Molineux the last time I was even like the second half of games like the one me and Dave went to Brighton. We just chatted the whole second half. The City game I'd switched off. This one, despite us scoring, I was just like, this is pointless. I haven't felt engaged for more than 45 minutes in a while, which is a problem.
I think per place is 2.2 million. So what's that? We could have lost 4.4 million within 2 games. Yeah, thanks, mate. I mean, it's a 2-2, so it was quite easy to add up. I'm not the best. I might need to take my abacus to Liverpool on Sunday because I think it's going to be an absolute thrashing. But yeah, I agree. It's just I can't. We'd set up like we weren't arse and players were on the beach. And Jord, I don't know if I know you've watched the game back, but I don't know if it felt like to you that half of these players know that A, they're leaving, or B, there's a big shake-up coming in the summer. Because to me, the players look like they've down tools. They look like they've already made their mind up about the manager. They look like they do not care.
Yeah, and I think, like I say, you messaged me saying about the pod, and I've been in Pembrokeshire this weekend, and I was like, I haven't watched the game. Do I need to watch the game back? Because I was like, I've seen all the comments and stuff. I thought, no. I've got to go through it. And I did watch the extended highlights, to be honest with you. Watch it back. And yeah, like I say, I think it feels like this is a massive summer. I feel like there's loads going on. Stace is off. Neves seems to be off. Matinho could be off. Bolly probably will be off. There's so much. Marcel, he can fuck off as well. But watching the extended highlights as well, just make a comment, like, again, because I wasn't at the game. That the first half where Pukki was like outrunning Bolly, it reminded me of Rocky 3 when Apollo and Rocky are on the beach and it's the end of the montage and like Bolly, like is Bolly running in quicksand or something? Like where's his pace gone? Or is Pukki like Usain Bolt? Like where's this come from? Like I was watching it. I couldn't believe what I was watching. The goal as well. Like how easy is the goal for Norwich? I mean, Jesus Christ! Like the whole thing's just shocking. And if they don't want to be there, fine, you can go. Like for me, like I'm just I am. I think it's gone stale, stagnant, and it's a shame, really, because this has been like the best Wolves team in all our lifetimes, 100%. But something's got to change, and it could go either way. It could get better. We could end up getting relegated next season with if we have wholesale changes. Who knows what's going to happen? But you know what? I'm at a point where I'll take the risk because I can't watch much more of this.
For me now, for me, it's
For me now.
My best Jason Guy impression there. For me now. These players are almost getting to the point where they're tarnishing the fantastic reputation and work they've done under the past 3 or 4 years. And you're right about like Pookie running through. When you got Cody turning and running and Bolly turning and running back, I thought I was watching fucking Chariots of Fire at the weekend. It was honestly, I was like, what is going on here? But even the Toti Gomez clearance that he makes, it's a good tackle. I've watched it back today, and Cody's just jogging back. He honestly, like, unless he's injured or something, he's literally just jogging back. And for the goal, even Toti's at fault for the goal for me. I know he put a good couple of tackles in there, he was dominant in the air, but have a watch of it back if you can, and you should see the defensive line that Gomez and Cody are holding. It's absolutely awful.
He's massively out of position back today. He's he's in no man's land. No man's land. You've
got Bolly who's pushed up, who's 7 yards, I'd say, in front of Cody and Gomez, and they're both holding the line. And Pookie's obviously pulled off the Bolly and he's through. I think it's the guy. No, sorry, that's the tackle that Toti comes round on the corner. But it's shocking, and the fact that the biggest kind of cheer apart from the goal all game was Gomez going through someone. That's all. And everyone's like, God, he's brilliant. He's not. He's an all right footballer. I think he's all right. I think he's a good squad player. But fuck me, if that's all we've got to sing and cheer about, then.
So you don't want a back two of Max Kilman and Toti Gomez to push you Europe next season?
Absolutely not. I wouldn't have any of them in the back two.
And Connor Cody is the number 6. Come on.
Fuck off, Dave. I can't listen to this anymore. I can't listen to this shoehorning players into roles.
When's it going to end, Robbie?
He's time to go. I wouldn't have any centre half at the club in a back two. I really wouldn't. I'd have Toti as cover, but I just wouldn't. I really wouldn't. I think we've seen enough the past month and a half, because even Kilman's been poor the past couple of months. We've seen enough the past month and a half that they're just not good enough, and they can't. Imagine defending even larger spaces when they can't play in a 5.
But that's what we've gone back to a 5, though, isn't it? Because Bruno quickly realised we can't play in a 4.
Yeah,
but that's what he's done. He's had to revert back in terms of protect first and build from the back. And I think that what's happened is obviously we're outperforming. I know your Dars and your Baldies won't like the XG and expected goals against, etc. But we were well performing that in the start of the season. And you know what? I think actually, on reflection, I feel like it's just leveling itself out like it would normally in terms of we're getting punished. We're conceding goals, we're making mistakes, and they're getting punished. Whereas at the start of the season, they weren't. And there's a lot to change in this club. And you know what? Like, on reflection, where we're talking about position stuff, I don't think we've deserved to come in the top 10 this season. I really do. I don't. I think, I think if we end up coming where, 10th or whatever, 11th after all this, it's because, Brighton and your Leicesters and all these have hit form at a good time. But yeah, I'm massively concerned about everything that's going on at the moment, if I'm being honest with you.
Pretty sure a month ago we were 11 or 12 points clear of 8th. We'd pulled away, we were fine. And look at us now. We could. Let me just get the league table up now. But I believe that we could finish. We could finish 10th, couldn't we? Yeah, we could finish 10th, which I suppose is above a kind of what we were expecting. But the fact that we were in touching distance of top 7 and even at one point in contention, if you ask the mainstream media, in contention for top 4, which I never believed. It's a really tough one to take, but it's more so the fact that it looks like these players are just down tools and they know something's about to happen, or they know there's going to be big change. From the Norwich game, the kind of the biggest takeaway for me is that we still couldn't create chances against bottom of the league, and it was easy for them. We created one good chance, and that was from a Chiquinho cross, and Neto did well to get down, stoop for the header. But apart from that, we created nothing. The goal was a goal mouth scramble. We didn't create that chance. That was Norwich gifting it us. Next season has to be better, and the form we're in, it worries me. I think there's a reason why we're sixth favourites to go down next season. I'm not saying we are going to go down, but look at the form we're in. We've seen it time and time again where clubs either have an awful end to the season or a very good end to the season, and that carries on into the next season. And I'm a little bit concerned. I'm not going to lie.
I'm just bored of the last 3 years now. I've had sour and negative ends to them, and that's the annoying thing. A few years ago, we missed out on Europe when it was in our hands. Again, exact same situation where we could have even got top 4. I don't think COVID helped that. We all know that. Last season was just diabolical. But this season's turned the same way. We might not, like you said, we were in such a comfortable place. And now we might not even finish top 9 on Sunday, depending on the results. So, yeah. But I don't know what it is. Could it be that the players know that he's not going to be there in the summer? Maybe they don't want to play for him. I don't know.
We'll come on to this anyway, but I'm really in two minds about Bruno. I really am. I can't figure it out. There's something at the club that just isn't right. Something's missing. Something massive is missing. I feel so detached from this crop of players. Yet 2-3 years ago, I'd have ran through brick walls from as a fan. Whereas now, like the Norwich game at 1-1, I left in 80 minutes. Call me a plastic. I'd seen enough. And there's no way I'm going to stand there in the pissing rain and clap them round the pitch after the shite that they've turned out the past couple of months. It's just not happening. But you're right. We do need a big change. We do need a big change. But whether that's going to happen, whether folks are going to put the money in their pockets, who knows? Before we go on to the Liverpool preview, let's quickly check the Betmate winning. So it was £3 in with your chance to win £100. And for the second game in a row, Dave Azzopardi has crept into the top 5. So, Dave, you took home a magic £4. So that's £9.60 over the space of 2 weeks.
It's not bad.
What's the secret, mate? Let's have a quick look for your team first. So you had Gunn in goal.
I actually put Sarr in, and obviously he didn't play, so he got subbed out.
Yeah, so Gunn scored you 4 points anyway. So you had Ait Nouri, who scored, Johnny, Neves, Neto, Hichan, and Pukki. So yeah, your biggest point scorer was Pukki and Ait Nouri, who both scored 8. But a big shout out to Informed Cactus, who scored 48 points, taking home.
Adam Cartwright, big up Adam. I was with him on the stag do. He was kept showing me his team for the FA Cup final. I said, "Have you not joined the Talking Walls one yet?" And he's like, "No, what's the code?" So he joined it there and then. So he should give me half, really. I
think so. Well, I think he should check pro rata between the 4 of us.
Yeah.
So we took home 40 quid, but then also a big shout out to Woody T23, who took home £22. And then also in the top 5 was Ollie Harper, Gabelli, Dave Azzopardi, and Rick La, who I'd imagine is a scouser. So congratulations to you guys. Strong end to the season
as well. Rick La.
Say again.
He DMs me a lot, I'm sure.
Oh, I thought it was in Rick La.
How are you, Rick La?
Yeah.
Might be wrong.
But talking of scousers, let's move on to Sunday. Liverpool away at Anfield. Oh, camera's gone out of focus there. Is anyone going? B, is anyone looking forward to it?
Going. Not looking forward to it.
Finn?
Yeah. Second that.
Going?
Yeah. It's a long story, but yeah.
Not going. Couldn't get a ticket. Got a fancy football do at Hickory's in Wallheath. If anyone wants to join us,
Hickory's.
We're going to watch it in there and get pissed because I would not pay any money to go and watch Wolves at the moment.
So talk us through your fantasy meetup. Then is this something you've kept quite quiet, mate?
No, it's more so the fact of we've got like a big one between like a group of mates of ours, which is just extended out over the years, and now we've got 63 people in it.
Flipping
£30
heck.
a man, and it's like $2,000 in the pot. So
Oh,
it's
nice.
yeah, it's a nice little big one, to be fair. So yeah, it's just extended to like mates and family and work colleagues and stuff. And
Decent.
yeah, so we've hired out the sports room in Hickories. So yeah, if anyone
Love
fancies
hickories.
Well,
fancy
Dave,
Hickories
we'll have,
Pale, let's go.
Dave, we'll have to check out our junk because I can't find the invite for that.
No,
So,
you know what?
yeah.
If Finn joined, you'd be up there, Finn.
I was
You'd
going to
have
say,
a
I'd be
great year in
$2,000 up.
FPL.
I'll
Unbelievable, man.
send the invite for you lads afterwards. Don't worry, you can join.
Yeah, yeah. Well, maybe to be fair though, with fantasy, and this is why I prefer Betmate because it's like 1 week you're done, next week you're done. Fantasy, after 3 weeks of like putting a team together, I completely forget about it.
Red flag. This is girls, if you're listening, if a man gives up on his fantasy team,
There are no girls listening.
There are.
good point.
Sexy girl.
Sexy girl. Fucking yes, guys. There
Great
aren't
chat,
any girls listening, I'm afraid. If you are a girl listening who isn't Lib, put a comment down below. So I'm pretty sure you're all blokes. But yes, Liverpool on Sunday. I will be going, unfortunately. Last game of the season. It's a difficult one because as things stands at the time of recording the podcast, Liverpool are drawing with Southampton. So we're not sure whether there's still going to be anything to play for. As it stands, there isn't. But I really hope there's nothing to play for because I fear for Jose Sarr's back picking that ball out the net. Or it might be John Ruddy. Might be another. Perhaps he did drop him.
He conceded 5. He conceded 5 at City. That's why he dropped.
As I spoke to someone on Sunday at the Norwich game, he
It's 2-1.
expressed. It's
Oh,
2-1.
Never mind.
To who? Liverpool.
Liverpool, yes.
Oh.
Anyway, yes, I was speaking to someone in the concourses on Sunday, and he probably knows who he is, but I'm not going to embarrass him because he's had enough embarrassment on the timeline the past couple of days with his Roger Johnson, some Dutchman, and Rob Edwards shout. But he believed that, or maybe alluded to the fact that Bruno Lage had dropped Jose Sarr because of the 5 goals conceded against Man City. So perhaps that could be the case. Perhaps you're going to see Big John between the sticks against Liverpool. But Dave, what do you do for this game? Do you give a few of the fringe players a run out? What do you do? Does it really matter?
It doesn't, but Bruno could give me a contract and I'll do as much as some of them up top there. So
you do look a little bit like Luke Cundle, to be fair.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Same treatment. But play on the pitch, give me a deal. That'd be more entertainment for the fans. Tell you what, get some of the lads that are on at half time against Norwich. Because that's the best entertainment we've had at Molineux all season.
It is. They've knocked it about well, don't they?
Mate, the thing is, the last time they did that was against Cardiff. I think we were in the Prem. And the atmosphere was amazing. And there's one guy dropping all the back heels and all sorts. But I don't know. I think you got to go... I don't care. I don't. Well, I do care, but I don't.
This is how bad it's got.
I just want like Bruno to come out at full time saying, "I'm leaving." Drop Mike. That's it.
I mean, we're not sure whether you're Bruno in or Bruno out, are you?
I'm a bit hokey cokey with it. I'm like the Trincao situation. 1 minute I want him, and 1 minute I don't.
I firmly believe that no matter what's left to play, that on the last game of the season, that you should have to draw. You all play 4-4-2, and you draw names out of a hat. So I just think it'd make it a lot more interesting.
Well, Dave has a party. Get me
on.
No,
not obviously not ours, but like you've got the whole squad in there. Like the whole squad. You might have 4 keepers playing.
Mid. Yeah.
Cody sent the mid. Yeah.
But why don't we just give a send off to everyone so he starts anyone that we don't want at the club next season? So
Cody,
Keanu
Hoover. What under 23s are expiring, Dave, on the contracts? Just chuck them in.
You're asking me a question now.
Yeah, sorry, that's a bit much.
So if that was the case, you'd have Ruddy in goal, you'd have Marcel at left back, you'd have Sace in the middle, you'd have Bolly.
Cody.
There's a shout for Cody.
Hoover,
Keanu
Neves,
Hoover.
Martinho, Trincao.
There's Trincau's and Mazzala. I'd keep Martinho. Neves, obviously, I'd keep, but I think we know what's happening. Jimenez up top and Hwang and
my God, they could leave the whole 11.
Hwang.
You know what? Unpopular opinion. Hwang hasn't been that bad the past few weeks.
He
wasn't that bad.
He's been gash.
don't think he's been that bad. Jord, what do you reckon? I think he gets. He's shit, but I think he's been a bit better.
I think he's got the first touch of a.
Oh my god!
Oh no!
He's sorry about that. No, honestly, his first touch is like throwing a bouncy ball at a wall. It's just honestly, it bounced off him. Like I've said this.
Put that one in the edit, Dave. But just a second one.
That's going on Wolves radio.
Imagine.
No, but in all seriousness, like I think that I said a few weeks ago that I don't think we play to his strengths because when he's looked good for us, it's been where he's running onto the ball. But the fact of honestly giving him a ball to trap, I think there's underrates in mini soccer who can trap a football better than him. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Curbs with better first touches. Perhaps an analogy I maybe would have opted with. But no, I feel like you've conveyed your point perfectly.
Oh my word!
But like in all seriousness, though, boys, what Finn? What do you do on Sunday? Do you give a couple of the fringe players a run out, or do you? I know we talked about sentiment and going to win a game, but I feel like once you do that against Norwich, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, if that goal hadn't just gone in, but that big Matip header now, that gives them something to play for, and I feel like we've got to prevent that. You've got to go strongest team to prevent the battering, which might still happen anyway, but give ourselves the best chance. I don't know. Yeah, I think still go strongest. I'm very scared for it. I'm not looking forward to it. We might be involved in history as the one little bit of like potential 5% reason for going, but it's not looking good.
It's not looking good, Brev. It's not looking good. I would come to Jord, but he looks like a Minecraft character on my on the stream. I don't know if he's come back now. Which pixels, Jord? There he is. He's back. Oh dear. I feel like our podcast.
My internet's kicked.
Start paying your bills, in, mate.
I can't get my composure back after some of these comments. I tell you now.
I think the podcast has just got worse and worse as the season's gone on, because I think the way that we're playing has been reflected on in our podcast quality. I feel like at the start of the season we were on it. We had Tom Parker saying Dendonka was going to score 14 goals in all competitions, and I feel that's when we peaked. But now,
might have been right there, by the way, my predictions.
Well, we're going to go over that next week. We're doing an end of season podcast next week. So we're going to look back at the predictions and basically see who was closest. But George's had enough. For those who are listening on audio,
please.
Oh yeah, Jordan's audio has dropped out, so he's going to be off the podcast for the next couple of minutes whilst he puts another couple of 50p's in the meter. But in terms of Betmate, guys, we're not sure what the pot will be. Now, it could just be your standard £3 in, £100 pot to win. Or if Liverpool have got something to play for, it could be an absolutely massive pot. So make sure you do get involved in that. We'll, of course, tweet the details. And by the time this airs, we'll have the details anyway. So Dave will kindly put those in the description down below. We'll also have the details. Here he is. George's back.
There we go. I've had to hotspot because the Wi-Fi's gone down. I think Dave tried to kick me out. To be honest with you, now you're all meeting.
But as I was saying on Betmate, there is going to be, hopefully, if Liverpool do hang on with all to play for on the last day, there will be a massive pot. But all that will be confirmed on the preview. Dave will run through that, and also I'm doing the preview with Alex from the COP TV, who we're partnering with, who are also part of the Betmate family. So it's all come together quite nicely, hasn't it, really? We work with the Magpie channel, with the Norwich City fan channel, Dave. The name escapes me.
Talk Norwich City. I mean, we didn't do anything with them this time round, but we have worked with them before.
Yeah.
Probably never worked with them again now they've been relegated. So big up Chris.
No, they're back up the year after. Yeah.
But yeah, Alex at the COP TV we're doing the preview with, and we'll be having that pot together, all being well. But keep your eyes peeled for that, because, like I said, if Liverpool do go on to win this game, then there's going to be a massive pot. And wouldn't it be nice if one of us, including the listeners, would to take a large part of that home after an 11-0 defeat at the hands of Jurgen Klopp's Reds? Boys, before we go on to the questions, I'm going to ask you a loaded question. I'm going to give you a chance to answer it. It's not going to be yes or no. Bruno in or Bruno out? I'll start with you, Jord.
For me, if you give me the chance of getting Lopetegui, Bruno out. But if Lopetegui's not around and not available, I don't think Bruno's done a lot wrong, really. But at the same time, it's a sinking ship. 11 points in 13 games, relegation form. Foden have tried to do it on the cheap. Get rid of him. If he's not your man, get rid of him. But if Lopetegui wants to come, I saw it obviously before we started recording. He made a lot of comments about us before that Europa League quarter final, where he's very gracious about and complimentary about Wolves in terms of the history in English football. And that sounded to me a bit of a soundbite of a man who knew it was possibly a destination for him in the future. So maybe the stars are aligning. But if Lopetegui is available, yeah, unfortunately, Bruno, it's time to go.
Time to go. Frank say he's got to go. Finn, are you Bruno in or are you Bruno out?
I feel very sorry for him because, like, when you look at all the stuff, it's like lowest paid manager in the league. With what he's been given, he's had a really tough job to. If he has just been brought in to get through that financial fair play period, sort of deal with this squad, Bruno, and you're not going to get much for. I mean, £3 million, I think it was rumored, but relatively not going to get much for it compared to everyone else. He's done a good a job as he could probably do. Minor criticisms are like substitutions, things like that, coming back into games. But as I said on the last podcast, I couldn't be the one to tell him. I couldn't say it to his face. I think it would be so unfair. But as you say, if someone like Lopetegui comes up, the track record there, the difference in records and managers, I think you'd have to go for it. But with how it is at the moment, one side has got to go. It's way cheaper to get rid of Bruno than it is to maybe take risks on getting rid of a lot of these players that he may or may not have fallen out with. We don't know who they are, so it's hard to sort of evaluate. But I mean, when you've heard like Raul, Johnny maybe having disputes, like Cody coming off at half time, which is apparently tactical, but these are like core players. Are you going to side with them? Are you going to side with him? Are they going to do a bit of both? I don't know, but I find it really harsh to do it. But as you say, like you see so many teams end the season poorly. There's clearly something wrong there. So if he has to go, I think it's the much easier option for the club financially and like numbers, non-financial number, like people numbers wise, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Dave? You Bruno in or Bruno out? I asked you last because you're probably the one who will come under the microscope more for you, so I give you a chance to politician's answer.
I am sat on the fence a little bit with it, if I'm honest.
Oh, of course he is.
No. I did call him some nasty names on Sunday, but I do, I am sat on the bench a little bit because...
Sat on the bench?
Sat on the fence bench. Get me on the bench Sunday. I'm sat on the fence because I think, like everyone knows, we know he hasn't been backed correctly. And we just sort of... We obviously want to see him get backed and almost create his own team and his own system. I think if this club is going to advance anymore, they've got to be completely ruthless. We can't, and you talk about sentiment with Ruddy, we've got to get rid of a lot of these players if we want to advance and become a better footballing team. The one thing that I don't want to happen, but I think it's got to happen regardless, is another transition season.
I'm sick
the
of
last
the word
one under
transition.
Nuno was classed as transitional. This season has been classed as transitional. And next season, regardless of whether Bruno stays or goes, because of the amount of players that will leave the club, and if a new manager joins, it's going to be classed as another transitional season. I think, like the other boys have said, if Lopetegui is available, I think you bite the bullet and get him. I think you got to. As considering, I think top clubs would be looking at him, and I think the relationship with Wolves is probably already there. I think he'd want some backing. I think you'd have to guarantee him some backing. But at the same time, then you on the flip side, you've got players such as Adama Traore, who's obviously also Spanish. Will he convince the likes of him to stay? I think he'll get the right side of a number of players. Got experience in Portugal. So if Bruno was to go, whether he's going to get sacked or whether he walks himself, I think he would be the answer. But I said at the start of the season, I thought Bruno was a cheap option and the yes man. And it's come true, really.
I feel like you've summed that up very, very nicely. All three of you have, to be fair. Measured argument, which is what we like to see. Talk about potential replacements there. I think Lopetegui is almost the glamorous one, isn't it? But do you not think we'd end up with someone like George Jesus, former Benfica manager?
No, I think that the two it would be if Bruno went, it would either be. I think Lopetegui is a shout. I think that was genuinely a shout. Or I think his name is the Genesio, the guy in France. Now he won Manager of the Year in France.
He's French though, isn't he? So it doesn't really make sense.
What do you mean? Is he or is he Brazilian?
Pretty sure he's French.
His name Bruno Genesio, I think his name is. I think he's Brazilian. You know.
You sure?
I'm completely wrong. He's from Lyon, France. So yeah, but I don't know. I think Lopetegui was a big shout. I think that's a realistic shout.
He'd definitely be an upgrade, but yeah, that's how I feel about it. If you're not gonna, well, even so, like if you're not gonna back him, sack him, because I feel like the players have already made their minds up. You need someone in to come in and re-galvanise and re-motivate this team, or give him some money to spend. I don't think they will. But let's have a look at your questions. Big thanks to those who have sent them in on Twitter and Instagram. There's loads this week, quite a few funny ones as well. But we'll let's have a look. Question, not a question from Ad Sidaway, but he said, I think you should re-look at the season predictions from the start of the season and look back on what everyone predicted. We will look at that. We'll do it next podcast. Jack WWFC Vlogs has asked, going forward in the transfer window, who do you think we will be losing? I think we can answer this one collectively, can't we?
Yeah. Ruddy, I've got a feeling Ruddy will stay, actually. Ruddy stay. Marcel will be gone. Sace will be gone. I think Bolly will go. Neves will go. Nah. I don't think
the injury may keep him there, but I think if he was fit, he might go.
I think he was off to. I thought Tomato would go to Atletico Madrid if he was fit.
Yeah, so.
I think I'll be the core. Obviously, Trincao will be gone. Go on.
Yeah. Can I throw one in just to get people's opinions? Because he has just scored a goal that mentioned. Well, there's 2-1 now for Sheffield United.
MGW.
Now 3-3 could be getting promoted. Gibbs White, what would we do? Because I'm keeping him all day long.
He'll be gone if Sheffield go up.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
I just think for him, there's definitely a player there. I just don't see it at Wolves. Like in terms of, I feel like he's had enough chance. Well, he's come back enough times where we thought he's going to make an impact, and for whatever reason, he hasn't been picked. And again, I don't think it's necessarily his fault, but I just feel like for whatever reason, I just can't see him doing it at Wolves. And it's a little bit like going back a little bit of time, but Mark Davis, when he ended up going to Bolton, and it was that sort of same thing. Like he had a lot of injuries, and his injuries ruined his career. In fact, but he never quite, when he broke into the Wolves team, he never quite got a rhythm of games because he was injured, and this didn't happen to Morgan. Is what I know that, but he just never felt like he was going to do it at Wolves, and I don't know what it is. I just don't feel like he's going to do it at Wolves, Gibbs White, for whatever reason, and. There's a footballer there. I just can't. I don't know. I just can't see it.
Yeah, I think Neves will go though. I think then Donker potentially may go if he wants to be guaranteed first team football with it being a World Cup year.
If you get
£12 million.
No, combined Neves and Donker, you get 70 million.
How much are you selling Neves for?
Combined 70 million.
Yeah, but how much?
Let's say 75.
How much are you selling Neves for?
Mate, Neves ain't going for more than 60. 100, he's not going for more than 60.
I think he goes for 50 million.
Yeah. I think Dendonk you get 15 on a push 20 million for.
I think that's
Doesn't
going to
matter.
be the biggest travesty about the Neves thing is we're not going to get enough money for him. Like in terms of we're going to sell him and go, and we're going to look at the rest of the market, come the end of the market, and go, we've been robbed.
Yeah,
that's my fear of it. Another one I'd get rid of as well, which again, where we talk about not being sentimental, and if we can get money for him, I'd sell Jimenez as well.
absolutely.
I think it makes sense of if Lewandowski goes to Barca and Bayern Munich come in with 20 million, something.
Take 20. I wouldn't be agreeing anything less than that though, you know. I think he's got another year in him. We need to look. I said it. I think I said it on the last podcast. We've had 2 managers and no changes to the playmakers, and it's been the same story going forward, attacking wise. I know you could say the same about the strikers. It's been 2 or 3 years and they ain't been scoring goals, but I think until you get a proper playmaker behind him, I think it's quite harsh to judge.
Maybe, but I just think he was a player when he was at brilliant best for us, and again he's been. So I think I said it on the last podcast. Best striker we've had since Robbie Keane. But for me, he's a player that played on the edge. I think he's lost his edge a little bit because of the injury. And it's partly so, and I understand it. I get it. But he's just not the same player. And how many goals he got for us this season? It's 5. And I know a lot of that. I know that's a lot of like contributing factors about the team not creating a lot of chances and stuff. But we need. It's not good.
I think 20 million. I would be happy with 20 million. Would shake his hand and say thank you very much. But
considering how much money he's probably on and the fact he's only got 2 years left on his deal, he's 31.
Past his prime, I would say now as well.
I'd take 15 million for him. And I'd wish him well on his way and say you've been absolutely unbelievable for us. You go down as a club legend, but go now while she can and while your stock's still fairly high. While she's still got a good legacy. Finn's crying here.
Just hay fever. No, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jord. I would get rid of it. Dave always comes up with but he's not missing any sitters, but he's not getting into those positions anymore. I looked the Norwich game on Sunday. We got to the byline a couple of times, and he's on the edge of the box.
Yeah, that Neto ball in the was it the first half? Everyone's just watching, and you got him, and they're just all on the edge of the box, like striker's dream, innit? We ain't got it Yeah.
Well, someone else has asked Cams, depending on the player results, what do you do about Morgan Gibbs-White? Jord, do you reckon to flog him? Dave, what do you reckon? Personally, I would flog him. He's unfortunately.
The thing is, I saw a great argument earlier. You know, there's a few people moaning about him. If right now you looked at a player playing for whoever, Forest, right, who had got that amount of goal contributions and scored, and you sign him for 20 million, a young English side, everyone will be buzzing, you know. So I think that's the one thing. But
it's
if Sheffield United go up, he'll be their marquee signing. I think 20 million. I think I would snap your arm off.
Well, he has said in the last week, "I love it here." That may continue, whether that's in the Prem or even the Championship. So he said anything could happen. I think he's been a victim of we played a system that doesn't fit his style of play or doesn't fit him, and it's been unfortunate. It's class to see him go there and do so well, though. Like he's idolised there, and they deem him as one of the, if not the best player outside of the Championship. But we need cash. So.
Would you like? When was it? I know it's a stupid argument. We do need like cash and players that fit the system or whatever. But just like seeing Man City have Foden, it's like it's already unfair. Why do they get some local lad as well? Why can't we have? We haven't had someone in years. You know, like it was last Danny Bath, and you've never had like an attacking local. I know it means nothing if we don't get points, but some part of me just wants to see like. Can you imagine next season like Jimenez, Morgan as the second striker, Neto, Chiquinho in Bruno's little 4-4 with the like João Felix in the Morgan role. Morgan
probably stay up with that.
Role. Exactly. And I'd have so much fun. We concede so many goals. We'd have a bit of fun. I just want to see it.
I saw something on Facebook the other day, and it wants to see, what was it, Dave? A back four, I think it was a Dingles AWE post. What was it? A back four of Dion Sanderson, and then we had Kawabe playing, Ryan Giles. Who else? Was it Gomez, Sanderson,
I hope I've got
Kawhi,
that person blocked because that is. I saw someone saying they want to see Sanderson and Giles and
That's the
Kawabe
one.
given a chance.
That's the one. You want to see Kawabe, Sanderson, Giles given a go next season.
But then these are the
can't-
same people moaning that we're not challenging for the top 6. So you want Boss Man that's 26 playing for Grasshoppers, holding our midfield next season. What are you on about? That ain't right, is it? He's gash. Mate, I don't even need to watch him and I know he's gash.
Oh God!
Yeah.
I remember when we signed him, and obviously we did the articles for BBC, and he was like, "Do you fancy writing an article on him?" I was like, "Fucking made up. We've signed someone. Like he's probably absolute fucking rhubarb, but I don't care because we've signed someone." We're never ever going to see him in a Wolf shirt, are we? Apart from the one he held when we signed him.
No.
Absolutely not. Pedence's Maradona has asked if we were to do a swap or part swap deal for Adama or Neves at Barca, which players would you realistically like to see at Wolves? I think that the one that everyone always mentions is Ricky Pudge. Played the other night, did quite well. But the one that's come up in the past week or so is Nico Gonzalez, which is someone I would 100% snap your hand off for. But I'd still want, with Neves, I'd still want probably 35 million plus Nico Gonzalez, and I don't think they'd do that.
Well, he's a very promising player, and I think he's just unfortunate. The likes of Gavi and
Pedri.
a lot of fantastic players have just got him ahead of him. What I like about him, he's big as well. He's 6'3". He's
a big boy,
tall guy, and I think that's what we need a little bit of. I can't lie, I've not seen a huge amount of him. I can't comment too much about him, but a number of players that we were linked with, the young Barca players that can't quite break into the first team that we were linked with, are all extremely high potential young players. And I know a lot of people are going to moan about that, and I've said it myself. I want first team ready players, but to have some of these players, Wolves are going to be looking at the resale value as always, thinking happy days. But I think that Nico Gonzalez would be an interesting one for sure.
I think both Pudge and Gonzalez could come in and make a difference. They're both fairly inexperienced. Gonzalez you look at him, he's built similar to like Pena, Joe Pena, but he can really, really drive forward with the ball. Looks really agile. I would love to see him at Wolves, but Neves is going to leave a massive hole. For me, I'll ask you, Finn and Jord, who you'd like, but I've been banging the Mateus Nunes drum for a while, and I think like if you replace Neves with him, that'd be like the perfect, like absolutely fine with that. And even paying you for 20 million, I think would be a good addition. But lads, who would you like to see from La Masia?
Adama.
Lemesque undub.
I can't say I've seen much of any of them, to be fair. I saw that thing going around of a Wolves fan saying, if Trincão's going to go to Sporting, Pain's going to come to us, and Adama wants to go to Barca, could we not just do that? Is that the three clubs? Basically, could you not just swap all three around because they're all meant to be around 20 million, which would be nice. But the two Sporting players that we're linked with, they're both a little bit different to Neves, aren't they? Like Pain's a bit more of a guy we probably needed against Man City. We were referencing that will stick a foot in, and then you've got Nunes that's more of the
wonderful player.
Yeah. He does look superb, but if Man City are after him, I can't see him when he's come to Wolves.
Yeah, there was something that came out the other day about Wolves asking for his availability, but as you do, I would say, well, I'm asking for the availability of Nicole Kimber. Doesn't mean I'm going to fucking shag it, does it? So we'll see how.
Especially Guardiola's asking for the availability as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's what Dave as a party's asking for. No one's got a chance. Jordy, would you like to see from Barca in a potential swap plus cash?
Other than the ones that have already been mentioned, I think we could. And again, I haven't seen a lot of Barcelona this year, but for me, someone who's not playing at the moment, who I think would improve us overnight, would be someone like Samuel Umtiti, who's not starting centre half, could really add a lot to us and probably make us. Well, he can play in the back four. The World Cup winner, quick, strong, but the reality is, you just know we're going to end up with Luke De Jong and Braithwaite, aren't we? And just fucking all this garbage gash.
Yeah, thankfully, I think Luke De Jong's on loan from Sevilla, so we should be all right with that.
What about Memphis Depay? Not saying he would join, but
he's meant to be leaving, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Promise him
take
the world.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, but is he? I mean, is he going to want to come to us? Like, you know what I mean? Is he the type of player that? And again, I'm only stereotyping from watching him, you know, in Man United, and he seems like a very much of a luxury player. And I don't know if we've got. I don't think we're good enough to have luxury players at the moment. So, but 100%, you know, if he wanted to come, he'd improve us again. Another one who'd improve us overnight. So, again, if you're getting Lopetegui, and he might be tempted by that project.
Let's hope if Lopetegui comes in, he brings Lucas Ocampos with him, because that would be wonderful. Yeah. I think with Umtiti as well, he's taken a pay cut at Barca, but albeit I think it's only 10%. It's probably still on about 400 grand a week, so we won't be swimming in those waters, I'm afraid, Jordan. Got a couple of more questions on the Twitter. A couple of people are asking about even Tony to Wolves.
No,
can't see that. I mean, I think if he's going to go anywhere, he'll go to a bigger club. What's your thoughts on that?
30,
I like him.
30 to 40 million plus as well, I think. So
I think that wouldn't even more.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Finn?
Yeah. I'd have him, but no.
Oh, yeah, you'd absolutely have him. Especially the game at Molineux. I thought he was excellent.
Yeah.
We'll go on to the...
Sorry, what that story came from, by the way, was like 90 min or team talk.
Yeah, it was bollocks.
And it's just, that, it's just like snowballed. So, yeah, it's not...
When was the last time we bought a domestic player? I can't even... It's just every time my brain just switches off to it. It's like, nah, it's not happening.
Probably Adama from Borough.
Yeah, or Hoover. I mean, Hoover from Liverpool.
Yeah,
I think so. Brad has asked, which cheese is the best or your top 5 to go for on a cheese board? I do like cheese, but if you ask me to pick 5 out of a cheese board,
not 5, man. Red Leicester's got to be up there. Unbelievable that. No, if Red Leicester's on offer, yeah, well, you got the great stuff, mate. That's on a sandwich all day, you know.
Jord,
why is there an awkward silence here? Like I'm a weirdo.
I just think Red Leicester's very middle of the road, mate.
It's sound that is,
cheese board. I don't know.
To be fair, Brad, we're not about 50 either, so.
Is it like Fiat 500 to say like a bit of halloumi and stuff like that? Is it a bit too?
Oh, that's a shout. Mate, Finn's all over the halloumi. I know that for sure.
Oh yeah, when me and Dave went last week, I forgot to try the burger. I was fuming.
Yeah. Fiat 500, you know.
I don't really do big floppy summer hat.
The only thing if I was recommend, sorry, we're on a cheddar at the moment in the Morris household from Aldi called Collier's. And it's the best cheddar cheese I've ever had in my entire life. It's like creamy and oh wow.
Oh, when you said you're on a bit of cheddar in the Morris household, I thought you'd like brought in a baller or something.
Madness going on.
Yeah, backstrapping a joint in the front room of your old fella.
Hot box in the lounge.
It's a big lounge to hot box up, mate. Bloody hell. You get through some dope smoke in there, mate. Bloody hell. We've all seen it. We've all seen it on the vlogs. So Dave's going Red Leicester, Jord's going halloumi, Finn's going halloumi.
Or cheddar, or it is.
I do like a blue cheese. I also like
I'm addicted to blue cheese.
Also, like Christmas time, a bit of brie and cranberry. That's that's quite nice. But any cheese I like quite.
You know what?
That Mexicana's nice on a burger.
Yeah. I like it. The best thing on a cheese board is the biscuits. To be fair, so
the biscuits.
Yeah.
What biscuits do you go for?
Well, the actual biscuits or the biscuits on the cheese board?
The biscuits on the cheese board.
No, there's little digestive ones in it.
Well, caramel digestives with his cheese.
Oh, caramel. No, you got obviously crackers. But then I swear on cheese boards, they do that little digestive type biscuit, don't they?
Mm.
Yeah,
normal ones.
What do you think of me like I'm, mad.
What do you think of Tuck biscuits?
Apparently,
Tuck biscuits.
When I was a baby, apparently I was addicted to them, but can't say they float my boat anymore.
Oh, then.
Yeah,
they're like little cheese biscuits. One
of my mum and dad's best mates, he worked at the factory, so he used to bring those back for me as a kid.
I think
if you eat something loads as a kid, similar.
Ritz
well,
cheesy.
We've got a question from Cartwright, who I believe was on the stag with.
He's the stag.
Yeah. He's a stag. Congratulations, mate! What a week for him. Winning Betmate.
No, that's his brother that won the Betmate.
Okay, right.
No.
Well, what a wait for the family.
Yeah.
After an eventful stag with days at the party at the weekend, which one of you would be quickest in a go-kart race?
Not me. My legs are up here.
I think he's trying to get. He's alluding to me being one of the shittest go-karters out of these 15 blokes that went.
I've
So
got
we
a
went to
story.
this. No, we went to this. What's it called? Team Sport in Liverpool, and there was about 15 of us that went, and rocked up. Oh, you got to buy a balaclava and everything. I was like, flipping heck! So I had to buy all this stuff. Then had all the briefing, like, oh, you got to go slow around these corners. You got to stay within 1.5 meters of each other. I was like, yeah, sound. You had to submit a picture before as well, so I just took a random one at work. One of the lads had got the picture of Michael Owen with a mustache. I was fucking in tears. We hadn't even started. Like all the pictures come up. That picture, Matt would have seen it. That picture of me and my mate with that woman at Wetherspoons in Wolverhampton.
Oh God,
that was his picture. So we went, and the first one, our class is like qualifying, so I was doing it nice and slow around the corners. And the stag, he was in like a pink suit. Mate, he was coming right up to me, and I was fuming, man. I was like flipping him the V's mid-course and all sorts, man. And then we had a half an hour break, and I took my helmet off, and I was going mad, like, this is bollocks. Like, what is going on? Why is everyone like, we're meant to keep 1.5 meters, and people are cutting me up here. So second one, I just went for it, right? I thought, right, no braking. I'll just take my foot slightly off the gas on the corners. I was spinning and all sorts. Got off, and I thought, this has got to be a top 5. Like, it was fastest lap. I thought, this has got to be top 5.
16.
Mate, out 15. Out 15, I finished 13th. Bollocks, man. Mate, no disrespect. I think it was his granddad there, big bloke. And they said that wasn't me that said it. Mate, I only finished half a second higher than him. So I think the answer is I would finish bottom.
Need to pedal quicker, mate.
Ew, I was fuming, mate. I'll show. Go on, carry on.
I am not built for go-karting. I'm quite a big chap, and we went go-karting with the school once to Cannon Raceway. I don't know if anyone's ever been there.
Yeah, I've been there.
It's in Bilston, and because of our age, we couldn't.
There you go, look.
Bullet.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't use the higher CC engines, I actually got stuck on the ramp going up on the track because the go-kart wasn't powerful enough because I was that much of a fat bastard. So I don't think I'd be any good at go-karting. There's loads of questions about transfers and whatnot, but a couple more before we wrap up. If you could choose a non-household, or I'd imagine it means non-domesticated animal to rebirth into when you die, which one would you pick and why? And that's from Joey.
What the hell?
A non-domesticated.
I think about this quite a lot, you know.
Do you?
But I don't know what.
I got one. Jellyfish.
Why jellyfish?
The men get pregnant.
Oh my God.
What on earth?
That's magic. Is it jellyfish? I'm sure it's jellyfish. Matt's searching it. It's legit.
I'm on the work computer, so I better not search that.
What else would you want to be? Without it being rude, what would you want to be?
You want to be
I
top
think
of the food chain, wouldn't you? You wouldn't want to be like scared shitless all the time. You want to be like a big eagle or something.
That's what I was thinking, like a massive bird of prey that, like, no other land animal, if it sees you there, it's just going to let you chill. But, like, you could swoop in and, like, take a small family. Like, that's, I think
the parrots get, I'd like to be a parrot, that'd be cool. The parrots
you could argue they could be domesticated, but.
You want about, like, with Jack Sparrow or something? Like, Pirates of the Caribbean parrot.
Yeah. I'd do that. That's domestic. That's definitely domesticated.
Moving on to Instagram. So someone's asked if we would start an OnlyFans.
What sort of content?
I'd do anything for a pound note, but I'm not sure that people would buy into that.
To be fair though, we could put all that instead of naked stuff, we could put our TikToks on because
Finn's gone. Finn's had enough.
Our TikToks hit 2K followers, so you know there's obviously a demand there. So,
yeah,
but OnlyFans, anything with a kit off, mine wouldn't fit on a picture anyway. So
I don't think. Yeah, Finn's back. Yeah, you say your TikTok's got to 2K followers, but you're not posing with pictures with your rusty bullet hole hanging out. So I don't think
you haven't got 50 times Zoom on your phone either, Matt. So.
I shouldn't
have to go to the Space Museum in Leicester and get a telescope. Yeah, I don't think we'll be doing an OnlyFans at any point.
If Jimenez leaves, I might think about it.
Yeah, you might have to.
I may, but for different reasons. We've had a couple of people ask, would we finish higher up the league this season or had a better points
Would we
tally
gone?
if Nuno stayed on?
Oh.
You can't.
Not on the basis of last season. I
don't know.
It was bad though, wasn't it, last year? Like he lost after the Albion at home game and the Burnley. He'd lost the plot, hadn't he? For me,
Yeah.
Thing is, though, I think Nuno wanted to push the back four. If he had a full pre-season on it, possibly, because I think he would have pushed it a lot more this year.
So what? Yeah, what would have been different? Possibly the back four. He always turned down Hwang, didn't he? So we wouldn't have had Hwang.
yeah, because he can't track the football.
So what Finn's saying is he wants Nuno back next year.
Jord.
That's what Finn is saying.
Come on, Stephen. Can't have the football.
There you go.
It's one of them, isn't it? It's, I don't know. I saw there was a comment when someone said about getting Nuno back in as director of football.
Oh God!
And I
These
thought-
blokes play FM or something, probably.
I'd
These people
let
who play
him
FM
go.
are weird, man.
They're just desperate to like shoehorn people into roles that that don't exist. Like the 77 club shoehorning some Dutchman and Roger Johnson into a scouting. If you've not seen that, I do love the 77 club, but it's on Twitter. If you're on Twitter, it's absolutely fantastic.
Can we get
Please
Jamie
go.
O'Hara in as player liaison officer?
Loan manager.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
keep in mind
every
mention as well.
week.
77 Club mentioned my little Chelsea cameo as well. Shout out.
I forgot we forgot to talk about that. Would you like
Yeah,
to
it's
talk
all right,
about
mate.
it at all, Finn?
No,
Would you like
it's
to
fine.
talk it?
The 77 Club did it. No, it's all
It's the busiest end of the podcast, mate. It's no old bars. Well, it went to pot
It
about
is.
30 minutes in with Jordan.
right. Yeah.
Minecraft camera, he said.
Yeah, man's out here looking like a Minecraft man. We've had 4 or 5 questions from a bloke called Edvin Kalman, who's a big fan from Sweden.
Big up.
He has asked whether Raul leaves, whether as a replacement for Neves, whether he's leaving, but also, which is the one we're going to answer, do we need to change to a back four next season?
Yes.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Do you think?
Yeah.
I think it can work as a more attacking thing in the back five. We saw that at times this season, but I think for us now as a club to progress, and I think as fans, we're just bored of it, aren't we?
Yeah. I think the big thing for me is it's the intent. Like you can play 5 or 4, but I just want to see us play the football that Bruno promised and what we saw at the start of the season. Like that's the football I want to watch. Like
To be fair to me, he never promised anything, did he?
Well,
His record at Benfica suggested it, but
we all got excited, didn't we? Let's be honest.
Like, we all thought he was going to play out.
yeah, I know what you mean though.
Yeah, like for me, it's just I just want to see I just want to see an entertaining style of football, and that's what I'm saying. It could go either way, but I think I'm at the stage now where I don't mind having the coin toss of it going good or going to shit. To be honest with you, I just want to see something different.
I'm not even asked about I think we need 2 new centre halves. I'm not even asked about having 2 real cultured centre halves, who can spray a ball about. Because I feel like in a back four, there's less of a need. There's 2 big bastards who can cover the ground.
You
And
know,
with the fundamentals of defending.
someone I like, and again, we'll never sign him because he's English, but someone I've been impressed with, who I think we could get if they go down, is Nathan Collins from Burnley. I think he's been really good recently. Like he's come into the team, obviously, but I think there's a player there. And United were after him before he went to Burnley. And again, I'm not saying that's a yardstick, but he actually looks like he's someone I think we could possibly get left field. But again, we're never going to do that. Let's be honest. But
Was he the knee slide guy? The one that did the perfect knee slide? Oh, yeah, get him in. That's fine.
Finn bases his recruitment on some mad things, you know.
Is he the
Is that the guy that had the really long cane rows? Oh, man, yes.
Get him in.
pure vibes, let's see.
Yeah, well, I'm not fussed. Like, just get 2 big bastards in who have got the basic fundamentals of defending, who can cover the ground, and I'm happy with that. I'm happy with it. And then you obviously got 2 competent fullbacks who can get forward, when it gives you more room to manoeuvre further up the pitch. But you know who I'd quite like, and it's quite left field, and it's not a defender, but someone who could leave Rangers, Joe Aribo. I don't know if you've ever watched him play. He's actually a baller.
Really lanky one.
Don't watch Sunday League football.
Oh, we're still in the Europa League final. the same Rangers who will probably get relegated. Apparently, that's what they believe. But he's really versatile. He drives with the ball so well, so good on the ball, and I think he wants to leave Rangers in the season. So, I think
Where's he play? Like an attacking mid or something?
He can play in the middle. He can play out wide. He can play as behind the striker. He can play screening the defence. He can play literally anywhere. But he's one of those players. When he gets on the ball, he wants to go forward with it, but not just pass forward, but try and break down lines with his.
Get you in as his agent this summer, man. You'll be
Joe, I'm trying, mate. I'm trying to get him. I think we'll leave it there, lads. It's a bumper podcast. It's over an hour and a half, and I don't know about you, but this therapy session is about half an hour overdue. So big thanks to those who have listened today, and a big thanks to our guests today for coming on. Dave, where can people find you should they wish to?
Yeah, it's Dave as a party, DAVEAZZOPARDI on Twitter and Instagram.
Finn?
Finn is FINERRZ, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and possibly OnlyFans, as mentioned. If
Oh my Lord.
Thank you.
Dear Lord.
Jord?
At JordRuss7 on Twitter. I'm not going to spell it because it's quite simple to spell.
And I'm M Cooper Wright on Twitter and Matt Cooper Bites on Twitter and YouTube. And of course, a big shout out to our channel partners, Betmate. Do keep your eyes peeled for the Liverpool pot. It may be a big pot. It may just be the standard £100, but make sure you get involved with that. Dave will sure to tweet out the details and make sure that you check the description too, and also the preview, because those details will be on there too. You can now also refer a friend on Betmate. So if you can get £5, and I believe so can your friend, as long as your friend you invite them to Betmate and they buy into one of the pots, you both receive £5. So a lovely little feature. Might be worth you doing it, might not, but make sure you get involved, and of course be gamble aware. Big shout out to Wolves under 23s as well, because they've actually won a penalty shootout, which is fantastic. I did watch the penalties on Friday after a few beers. I went to Fazenda in town, lovely bit of food. I was quite pissed watching it, and I was quite angry for under 23s football, and I think that's when I knew I needed to go to bed. But in true YouTube royalty fashion, Dave, can you sign off the show for us, please, mate?
Certainly can. Once again, thank you everyone for listening. I had one or two people come up to me at the Norwich game saying how good the content's been this season, so I really do appreciate it. And yeah, if you're listening on YouTube or watching on YouTube, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, be sure to leave us a 5-star review. And until next week, we will see you very, very soon.